Hello, I started filming this and then my alarm to take one of my pain medications went off, and so I'm having to refilm it now because it basically switched off the video, which is very annoying because I'm knackered. So that was very frustrating. But anyway, so the thing I wanted to share with you this week, I don't know whether I'll be able to do any other videos because I'm not great at the moment. In fact, I'm actually waiting for the doctor to call me back about something. Anyway, yeah, Easter week, I was thinking about the humility of the Lord Jesus. So the Lord Jesus is God. He is King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and he humbled himself, laid aside his crown and his glory, and came down to earth to live as a human being, not as a king, but as a humble carpenter family situation, making things, learning how to sand and saw and that kind of thing. Very, very humble, sort of obscure beginnings, because it was the thing of like, there was a bit of question about, was Mary unfaithful and all this kind of thing. And obviously we know, because it's in the Bible, what actually happened, that God was the one who put the Lord Jesus essentially into Mary's womb. There's none of that dodgy stuff. It's just literally just so he is very God and very man. Anyway, humbled himself, grew up, da 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 da. So the Messiah, so the one that everybody was waiting for, they thought that he was going to essentially come in on a white stallion with his sword blazing and free them from the Roman oppressive empire. That's what they thought. That's what they thought the Messiah was going to be. And the day that it was all coming together, and people were like, okay, this is about to happen. This is it. This is it. And Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. So the contrast of that. And it wasn't just a donkey. It was a young donkey that had never been ridden before. So for those of you who sort of understand about equestrian stuff, it's yeah, that doesn't happen. You don't just go, ooh, a young horse or donkey, never been ridden before, I can just sit on it and it'll be fine. That's just not how that works. So the fact that Jesus could do that shows the power that he has to be able to just control everything, which is amazing. And yeah, he rode in on a donkey, not on a big white stallion with a crown and a sword, but just meekly and humbly into Jerusalem, which I think is amazing. You think the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, God himself made flesh, riding on a little donkey in town. It's just crazy and amazing. And then he went into the temple. Now, the temple was supposed to be a really, really special, set apart place for worshipping God. And because people are sinners, we all are, they had started going, oh, well, actually, instead of having to bring a sacrifice, why don't you buy one from us, and then we'll get money, and then we'll be able to make the sacrifice and say that you're forgiven and things. And basically they were turning it into a pyramid scheme marketplace situation. And Jesus's righteous anger was this is my Father's house, so God the Father, and you've made it into a den of thieves and robbers. And so in a thing that was people were really shocked by this, because Jesus, prior to this entrance into Jerusalem, was very sort of humble and meek and sort of gentle. He was still very, very firm, and he called stuff out when he saw it, but he was the one healing people. But he makes a whip of small cords, and he starts turning over the tables of the money sellers, and you can imagine the doves flying off and the money chinking on the floor and stuff. And it was just people what on earth is going on? But the thing that I love, and I used to love this story when I was a little child, was you have this amazing display of power and righteous anger, seeing these people doing wicked things in the temple, and then he sees some people who are blind and lame and beggars, and he goes to them and he kneels down and he helps them. So like the absolute contrast of that is amazing. And there's so much more of the Easter story, which I will probably do in the next couple of days, just sharing thoughts that I've had about it over the years. But I just thought the humility of the Lord Jesus to ride in on a little donkey was just amazing. And then the contrast of like the turning over the temples and then the kneeling down to heal the people thing. It's just incredible. Jesus is amazing. He is God. He is the only way to be saved. And we'll find more about that as we go in through Easter week. And I encourage you to get to know him because he is wonderful and loving and kind. He's also very firm and very just. But we'll find out more about that later. But just like get a Bible and read the Easter story, man. It's amazing. And the wonderful thing is that there's so much historical proof that like this legitimately happened. And so it's not just, oh, you need faith to believe this. It's like, no, this actually happened. This is actually what happened. Yeah, it's changed my life. It can change yours. And we'll talk more about that later. Okay, lots of love. Bye.